Oh, yeah. Welcome in to Colby Sapp's Mystery Shotgun. I am your host, Colby Sapp, along with Pod Racer Tim. It is time to get into some things that involve your world of comic book movies. And I want to, before we get into totally Acolyte talk, by the way, coming up when we get into Acolyte talk, there will be spoilers abounding because, yes, the episode was just released yesterday. You've only had that much time, but there's enough talking points to get into it that we have to go ahead and get into it because there's going to be a big difference of opinions here coming up in just a short couple of minutes as between me and Tim.
Buckle up.
It's going to be, might end up turning into an argument.
I'm not that passionate about it.
Just going to say, but first let's get into the rumor mill that's happening via the internets. And this is a thing that happens quite a bit. Somebody breaks a story and says they've got the ultimate scoop, and it lasts for a couple of days. And then finally somebody on the inside has to come out and say, that's not happening, guys. Sorry. I don't know where you heard that, but that's not the truth. And the current one going around is that your new Ghost Rider in the MCU is Ryan Gosling.
I'm out.
Ryan Gosling is going to be joining the MCU.
Good thing I'm a DC guy.
His role is not, unless they change their mind, is not going to be Ghost Rider. That's not what I'm hearing. That's not what's out there. Somebody had a fever dream and posted that on Twitter, and everybody else is running with it. So there you go. If you were looking forward to the Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider, until I hear different, I'm going to tell you that's false.
How do you feel about that? You like Ryan Gosling, though,
I do like Ryan Gosling. I think he has good chops and can pretty much maneuver around anything. I've seen him play dark and brooding. I've seen him play, super happy. I've seen him, do a lot of things and be a character throughout and actually focus on that character and be more than just Ryan Gosling being a character. So because of that, yes, with those kind of chops, and then putting him in a spot to where it's going to be mostly CGI'd for his big moments, then yeah, do it. That's also the reason why I think Ghost Rider is one of those characters that you don't have to have super well known.
Right.
Because when he becomes Ghost Rider, you can actually use somebody else as his voice for that part of the character.
Because his head's all on fire and everything.
Exactly right. You just got to make sure that the guy has the chops enough that on the intertwining story that he's able to still play whichever version of the Ghost Rider that the MCU is going to ultimately use, which we still believe is going to be the Johnny Blaze version. So,
are there others?
There are. There's there's been plenty of other Ghost. Okay. Because Ghost Rider's kind of a thing that's passed down.
Okay, gotcha.
Situation. So almost like your Green Lantern Corps, if you're a DC fan, There's been more than just one Green Lantern. There's been more than just one Ghost Rider. But in other news, real quick, Tim, how would you feel if you signed the contract for making money and they told you had to do a almost animalistic super sex scene in a show, and then come to find out before it's released that it got all put on the editing room floor, never to be aired?
Relieved?
Would you be relieved? I mean,
I don't know. It depends on what I had to do. I mean, I'll do a lot for money.
Right.
I usually don't care. So
I'm thinking if that I went through gave my all for this scene, and I, did the dieting, did all the things to make sure I looked exactly right.
Right.
And got to the scene and made it through, any kind of awkwardness. Maybe I don't have a lot of, mesh with this person, and we ended up filming this scene and went through all that, which may be great, maybe hell, depending on the person. And then at the end of it, they go, yeah, we decided just to cut it. I think I'd be kind of pissed.
Well, but they probably cut it because it didn't come out that great, right? If that was that great of a scene,
or it went too far overboard.
Yeah, so you probably don't want it released then.
Olivia Cook has announced Game of Thrones situation that, yeah, her animalistic sex scene that was going to be in the
She do a dragon?
I don't know. It's like I said, it's because nobody's ever seen it. She's like, yeah, they cut it, man. It was going to be in there. Me doing all the stuff.
I've never seen any of those. I thought that show was over.
This is the prequels going on.
Oh, there's a new show?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, at any rate, if you were looking forward to Olivia Cook doing the super animalistic inclined hokey pokey,
I bet you somewhere that will get leaked.
Probably.
If the studio is smart, it will get leaked somewhere on Reddit or whatever.
And with that, we now get to Star Wars. As Acolyte Episode 4 was released. And you know what, Tim? Should we start with your version or my version, sir?
All right, let's go through the timeline here. So I found out last week that the episodes get released on Tuesdays.
Correct.
So yesterday lunch, taking a quick break from my writing routine, I thought I'm going to have a couple of sandwiches here, turn on the Acolyte, watch the new Acolyte. They don't get released until 8 p.m. Central Time on Tuesdays.
Yes.
I always thought they came out at midnight. I don't know they had times. But anyway, so I waited. And at 8:15, I turned it on.
Wow.
And look, for everybody that's followed the story here on Mr. Shotgun and the ups and downs of it and the controversy and what the wokeness of episode 3, I never saw any of that in episode 3. Colby and I had this conversation off the air. Nothing in episode 3 bothered me one bit. And I'm usually sensitive to crap like that.
By the way, did episode 4 get you all woked up?
Episode 4 got my motor revving about the show.
Okay. All right.
And I told you this. I was like, dude, this was a great episode. And then you're like, man. Well, first you're like, oh, now I can't wait to see it.
Yes.
And then you came back at me with this, again, this is all over text. So, I'm making emotions up here, but with just extreme disappointment in your text voice.
Because I was extremely disappointed, Tim.
And I'm like, and you brought up all of this stuff about the gun holster and crap. And I'm like, I don't care about any of the continuity stuff. I don't give a crap. It doesn't pertain to the story.
And neither does anybody over there doing the show, by the way.
Apparently not. But dude, I actually noticed that. I did notice that. So, I mean, I was conscious of it. But it didn't affect me. Now, her character, the May character, I've seen some back and forth, some really weird things that they've done with her character, right? That don't make a ton of sense. But you know what? I'm letting the series go, right? I'm like, okay, I'll wait till the end, all right? There's going to be inconsistencies for sure. We've already had some of those.
Yes. Space fire.
And then, I mean, that was kind of weird. But I didn't care. It didn't bother me. I noticed it, but it didn't bother me. But at the end of episode 4, I don't know, the last 10 seconds of episode 4, my blood pressure shot up. I'm not thinking of the production value of what it is. I'm thinking of how that 10 seconds, how the entire story has built up to that 10 seconds on the screen. And this is something, and I'm trying not to give spoilers away.
Oh, spoiler alert. Go ahead.
But these characters have never seen this before. They don't know what it is. As May is there at, what's the Wookiee Jedi? They were at his house, right?
Yes.
And he was not alive anymore.
No.
Because she went to kill him. So then she runs out, and the Jedis that are chasing her, they're hunting her, they're all out there facing each other. And then from the camera angle looking at May, you see this black creature, this black figure in a mask and a robe, start kind of floating from the background. It comes up right behind her. and the Jedi's immediately, launch your swords, telling her to run. She turns around and she's face to face, and then he lets out his lightsaber, and it's red.
Yes.
And he's in a black cloak, a black mask that looks with a suspicious diamond or whatever smile that looks like the Joker. So Colby has named him Darth Joker, which is kind of funny. And then he just whisks her away with one wave of his hand. And then as the Jedi start to charge him, just lifts up his other hand and pushes them, violently back, 30 feet through the air. And that's how the episode ends. And in my brain, I'm like, holy crap, this is the first Sith. Like we just saw, and now in the story of Star Wars, the first Sith. Nobody's ever seen this before. And then Colby texts me, he's like, yeah, you talking about that Darth Joker idiot? Like totally defeating everything I felt about the show. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I told him, I'm like, dude, you're overanalyzing all of this. Just enjoy what you're watching, and give it a chance. And you couldn't.
You know what, Tim, I gave it a chance. Tim, after the first episode, I was like, all right, guys, it is woke, but you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. Even though the acting seems a little poor.
Yeah.
The actual character writings, I'm like, the story might be great, but the writing of the dialogue is also very poor.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so, but we get to episode 4, and I'm starting to get tired of May and Osha just being like dead set against something and then just
changing their mind.
Okay. Like Osha's like, no, not going to go help you. Sol, sorry. I'm out of here. You should really go. Okay, I'm going.
Okay, I'm in. Well, he used the Jedi mind trick on her.
Sure. And then May's out there talking with home helper dude that's the Sith helper or whatever. And she's like, well, I've got to go fight this Wookiee Jedi with my bare hands. And he's like, you sure do. And then he gets caught in a trap. And she's like, never mind. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go turn myself in.
Yeah, I quit. Like, that was weird.
I've just killed like 3 other Jedi or what have you. But that's okay. I'm now going to go fall on their mercy because of what I know.
They won't put me in jail because of the things I know, right? That was what she was going. And it was a weird, abrupt kind of a plot turn, right? That I didn't get it, but you know what? They might address that later.
You know what? And maybe they sure might. The thing that I was talking about was they're both walking through, about to go into, the forest area, and the dude Jedi with the Floby cut.
It's the worst haircut. Dude, black people are like up in a rage over that. Did you know that?
Get the dude lined up. Okay. He's so worried about his effing, robe and stuff that he takes it off to steam clean it or whatnot. Get that dude lined up right. Anyway. So they're both walking. Him and Osha are walking, and he goes, I'm going to need to see that blaster. You can't have it and whatnot. She's like, I found it. It's mine. He goes, I'm still going to need to see it. And then that's the end.
We don't ever see the blaster again in the episode. It never comes back up.
No, nobody ever talks about it. That and highlight the most woke moment in, which again, doesn't bother me, but this is really blatant and forced, which at this moment, again, so they're introducing the hunter squirrel on the ship with that scene that nobody really needed to have at all.
That was weird.
And so her droid squirts the hunter squirrel or the tracker squirrel, and he's like, me. And so she gets up and is like, who is he or they?
Oh, so I didn't even catch that.
And later on, it's found out it is a he.
Right.
Through, but still, it's like, you could say, who's he, or didn't have to say it so slowly. Who's he? Or I guess they.
That seems a little forced.
It was.
I didn't catch it.
It was really shoved in there. So Star Wars now has pronouns. But at the end, by the way, if it ends up being Sith helper dude is the
master,
I'm gonna vomit.
Yeah, I anticipated that.
I'm gonna throw up.
Oh, I thought that until we saw the Sith. You think that's him?
I think that's him.
Oh, that
because he was already there on the planet.
Yeah. And he acts kind of dumb half the time, right?
Right, but yet he knows everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So,
see, I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah, no, I'd vomit because it's really glaring. Now, if they zigzag away from it, I'd be cool.
Yeah.
But if that's a little too glaring, it's a little too obvious. So anyway, Darth Joker appears out of nowhere and utters the biggest force push that has ever been uttered in the entire history of Star Wars, except for maybe Force Unleashed, the video game.
Yeah, that was good too.
And basically wiped out a small Jedi town, which, by the way, never seen or heard of the Sith. They have, because they've got Mundi there. Did you know that the tall cone head guy that's the Jedi is the same one from the Phantom Menace?
Is he on their team? I didn't see him on their team.
Yes. He's not there on the team, but he's been teaching.
But he's present? Oh, yes. He's at the temple?
Yes.
I probably just assumed it was the same race. I didn't think it was the same guy.
Same guy. You want to know how?
We're talking hundreds of years.
I know. I went but they never explained that, by the way. I'm just assuming that this character lives a long time.
Right.
Because if you look at the credits, it says Mundi there. And that's...
Are we sure that's his name and not his race?
No, he's a Syrian or... It starts with a C.
Okay.
Explain that one too while you're at it, that those creatures live for a long time, which, by the way, in the Phantom Menace, he said, man, we haven't seen Sith for thousands of years. Yet, 100 years in the past, he's about to run into one.
Well, I don't know that the Phantom Menace is canon.
Shut up.
I mean, seriously, I don't know that it is.
It is canon.
I'm not sure it is anymore.
Shut up. So there you go. And again, the writing's poor. I know I'm slamming the table a lot. The writing's poor. The characters look at this writing, and I'm not even blaming the actors and actresses. Why? Because if I was handed that script too, I don't know how much emphasis or how much I could make that work. Especially if the direction was you're doing good enough, I think I'd just keep doing it.
So do you think they rushed this into production?
I think it's been a half-assed the whole way through.
Do you think it went through just an incredible amount of edits because that was my theory to you when we were texting. I was like, maybe just all the shit's been edited out and it just kind of like Falcon and Winter Soldier where none of it makes sense anymore.
I don't. If so, then don't air the Jedi mystery show when your key components are being left out of it. Either way,
right? I get it.
It's bad.
I'm enjoying the show. For entertainment value, I'm enjoying the show tremendously. And that's all I'm saying. Like, am I entertained by it? Yes, 1,000%. Could that change with the next episode? Yes, 1,000%. But right now, I'm in.
You know what? And I'm not going to ruin your buzz.
I do have a buzz right now.
Not going to ruin your buzz. And I'm still going to watch because I still got to do these mystery shotguns about Acolyte.
You have to report on it, Colby.
So there you go. There is your mystery shotgun.